Aubrey's IEP team consists of Mr. Tobler, Principal, Miss Knight, SLP, Miss Stapleton, General Ed Teacher, Miss Ward, School Psychologist, Miss Coulson, Special Ed Director, Mr. Smith, Interpreter, and most importantly, Aubrey's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Wigand. If the circumstance was appropriate, Aubrey could attend her own IEP meeting. However, for the purposes of this presentation, Aubrey will not attend her own IEP session. Mr. Smith, the interpreter, is also not needed in this session. Before beginning the meeting, the IEP team will inform Aubrey's parents of their rights and powers. You, as Aubrey's parents, are the most important members of this team, and we value your input and opinion. We must inform you of future meetings in advance so that you have time to plan ahead. BYOP, bring your own people, person, professional. You can bring anyone you want to the IEP meeting. By law, Aubrey should receive free and appropriate education in the least restrictive environment, or in other words, the place in which she will be most successful. You as parents can disagree with decisions that the school makes. If you don't think that we are doing what is right for Aubrey, you have the right to say so. You are entitled to due process. After going over various procedural safeguards, Aubrey's parents should feel empowered to advocate and support their daughter. They should also feel welcome as equals on the IEP team. Now, the SLP takes her turn. Mr. and Mrs. Wigand, we evaluated Aubrey and collected some baseline data which tells us her current level of performance. As the SLP, I collected a language sample, which basically means I had her talk to me in an academic context and I analyzed her language. Aubrey was a joy to work with. She tells great stories and has a contagious smile. The results of the language sample indicated a lack of language complexity marked by characteristics such as absence of subordinate clauses and lack of modifiers or adjectives, generally short and incomplete sentences, difficulty telling a coherent story, and ambiguity due to not introducing and identifying characters in this. Based on these findings, we drafted some goals that we want to get your opinion on. These are the goals. Do you think these goals will help your daughter? Do you want to change or add anything? You mentioned that you are concerned about Aubrey's reading comprehension and that you fear she won't pass the upcoming state exam. Let's write a goal together that will help her to improve this skill. How about this? Sounds great. What's gonna work? Teamwork. As the SLP, I can work with her twice a week for 30 minutes. In a small group, we can practice reading comprehension skills. Oh, and as her teacher, I can make sure that she gets practice in class. I can have activities that involve answering reading comprehension questions so that she can get more exposure in class. As the special ed director, I can do the same. The more exposure, the better, right? Right. And as her parents, we can work with her at home. When we read books to her before bed, we can ask her questions about the book. She can get practice at home, too.